Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's gonna be negativeZero taking on the MicroMachine in a TVP. I was looking at the ladder, and we've actually got a bit of a shortage of Terran bots these days, it seems, as we've got MicroMachine up there on the ladder, which we're lucky still to have, as it's still on the ladder despite not being updated. Then we've got, of course, BenBot. But other than that right now, since Veteran and Ketrock's bot are off the ladder, we're actually lacking Terran representation. For once, I'll say, which is, it's definitely a change. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, it should be a good match. MicroMachine trying to take down negativeZero. Go ahead and click that like button. If we can get one like for every APM, that would be amazing. A bit of a far shot, but you never know. You can't get it if you don't ask. Then leave a comment down below saying more bots if you enjoy these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them. And yeah, we do have MicroMachine letting us know that it's not got the best win rate against negativeZero. However, it's not zero. So it's also not negativeZero. So there's also a chance. And yeah, we'll just have to see if MicroMachine can potentially cheese out the Protoss bot, as that's exactly what it's going for here. A Reaper out of a proxy Rax, and then sending that across the map. Meanwhile, negativeZero isn't actually scouting out at all, so it will be caught off guard by this. There is a Reaper killing a probe, however, an Adept is being produced. That will be a bit of an answer to it. So we'll just have to wait and see how much damage this Reaper is going to get, as it does start softening up quite a few of these probes. MicroMachine has some of the best Reaper control in the game. Going to try and avoid that Adept while trying to kill some of these probes. It could shoot one of those probes. It does not, though. Just in full-on retreat mode when that Adept Shade is chasing after it, which is definitely understandable. Looks like it should get away from that. Meanwhile, we've got MicroMachine building a Cyclone behind this and a second Reaper controlling those independently. Unfortunately, that first Reaper does perish. And so it's going to be on the Cyclone and the follow-up Reaper to get something done here, as production is in full swing for negativeZero. It's got Warp Gate about halfway done. That's going to allow it to reinforce quickly, faster than what a factory can pump out Cyclone-wise. Second Reaper is going to be moving towards that natural base. We'll see if it can potentially get one of those probes. However, a Stalker comes down that ramp. Beautiful grenade placement by MicroMachine, really anticipating that. I wonder if the bot author did some math on that one. Now the Cyclone is coming forward. It's not exactly targeting down any of these units, though. It may be able to get a few probes. Probes actually zapping the Cyclone, which is not insignificant. They don't have the most HP in the world. And the Cyclone, it does utilize its lock, or actually, no, it doesn't lock on. There we go. It locks on, but then has the lock on broken, as it just gets chased all the way home. And that is not the best start for the Terran bot. It's produced a siege tank. It's sending it home. MicroMachine has got a command center done at its natural base, but now it's going to be on the defensive. And we do have a Banshee on the way for MicroMachine. Someone actually requested in the comments saying, hey, can we see how negativeZero does against Banshees? And so we shall see how it's going to do. negativeZero generally does make observers. It's already got one out. And the Blink Stalkers could be a little bit scary. This tank is actually taking its sweet time to get to the other side of the map. It's like we've got this Rax being shot at. The Cyclone did get repaired. The tank is going to be moving back home. Meanwhile, a second tank is being produced. That is going to leave MicroMachine a little bit lacking. I also heard a random scan going down. I'm not sure where that was. Just right at the front, trying to kill off that observer, and it does. So very well done by MicroMachine there. Will that tank siege up? That's going to be the question. The production for MicroMachine is kind of lagging. Well, lacking, pardon me, not lagging. As I mean, it does only have the one tank. It's produced another one to send that across the map. negativeZero is going to be getting aggressive, potentially going to try and catch MicroMachine off guard as the Terran bot is moving out, looking to get aggressive, as it so often does. That's going to leave it with very, very little stuff to defend back at home against these Stalkers. We'll see if negativeZero is going to respond to this attack or just go for the counter. It's like the Protoss bot is moving in for the attack. Meanwhile, MicroMachine comes on in with its tank. negativeZero is going for the throat. So we've got a bit of a base race right now. SCVs are being pulled to buffer shots for MicroMachine. Meanwhile, the smaller army of MicroMachine is doing what it can. 2 tanks and a Cyclone. Not exactly the fastest army when it comes to killing a Protoss base. There is that Banshee out, which we do have to pay attention to. A new observer has been produced. It is not with those Stalkers, though, so the Banshee is actually chasing this away. There's a few Marines out. They're not hopping into the bunker for MicroMachine, as those are generally used by the Terran bot just to mine gas, not to actually stay inside of. And man, oh man, this match is really turning into a mess. Supply depot is being worked on. However, the Banshee, with nothing to detect it, is shooting away on these Adepts. The tanks are doing what they can as well on the front line. So however, Stalkers for negativeZero are looking to close this or shut down this attack by MicroMachine, as they do get a blink on top of those siege tanks. They are now going to clean out the factory, so that is going to be a big blow to the production of MicroMachine. The Terran bot has stayed alive. It isn't really responding to these 2 Adepts right now. There it goes, going to be killing those. There is the Viking out and 3 Banshees for the Terran bot, so there is definitely some potential there. I do fear what's going to happen when negativeZero gets aggressive once more, though, which it very well should be doing at some point, as it's got 13 Stalkers against really just Banshees for the Terran bot. MicroMachine is producing another factory back at home. It's making a Raven, making a Viking, as it's got that double starport on the way. There is a world in which negativeZero loses its observers against the Vikings, against the Banshees, and then the Banshees can defend for MicroMachine. It's not going to be the most likely world out of all the possible universes out there, as this is just so many Stalkers for negativeZero. 18 Stalkers out, moving across the map, playing like a true Protoss. The Banshees do have hyperflight rotors, which could help them out in this situation a little bit. There is 4 observers for negativeZero. It's actually got observer speed as well, which is so important. That's going to allow them to potentially not be picked off by the army of MicroMachine. MicroMachine has got the 3 Vikings in the skies. It does shoot at one of the observers. Where are the Banshees? Another observer does come forward. It does get targeted down. The Banshees are all over the place. Only one's on the front line, and there is another observer. So negativeZero doing its homework on MicroMachine, seemingly bringing a boatload of those observers. There is one Banshee back at home that is not contested in the skies. It's got a bit of energy, so it can keep shooting. I'm not sure it's going to be able to kill all these Stalkers before it runs out of energy. In fact, I'm quite confident it will not be able to. Doing some damage to this, though. negativeZero is coming into the main base. SCVs have all ceased their mining activities, so they really are just going to have to fight to help try and beat these Stalkers. The Vikings land, but they get a little bit confused, and it does seem that negativeZero is going to take this one against MicroMachine. Stalkers very beautifully blinking after that Banshee and killing it off. And yeah, MicroMachine falling to negativeZero in this one, but it's one of those things. While MicroMachine only has a 6% win rate against negativeZero, it was still a very entertaining match to watch, and that is the beauty of these bot games. We do get quite a bit of variety. I'm kind of curious what a win for MicroMachine looks like. Maybe just the cheese being a bit more successful, something like that. I don't know whether it would change up the builds or what. Or maybe it's just one of those scenarios where in a game like this, where it does kill all the observers successfully. We've got a Stalker hanging out on that ledge, hanging out in the gardens of the patio, trying to get a table. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning into this one. A bit of a shorter game, short and sweet though. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, click that like button. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below. If you watched to the very end and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button to get daily StarCraft 2 videos. Most of them involving the robots. And yeah, if you do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member, as that does go a long way. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in. We just gotta wait for negativeZero to seemingly get over its Banshee fear and clean up all these buildings. GG.